Hi everyone, this is Miss Coco Ip. Today I'm going to share with you all a book called The Diary of Anne Frank. So this is a book written by a young Jewish girl, Anne Frank, during the World War II period. So at that time, Anne Frank and her whole family was forced to go into hiding during the German occupation of the Netherlands during World War II. This is a very famous book that has been translated into more than 70 languages and published all around the world. Millions of people have read the book, and that it is one of the most famous books in the world. Anne had to hide and live in a secret annex in a company's office for 2 years before they were discovered by the Nazi. And this diary starts when Anne was gifted a diary for her 13th birthday. The diary is written in the first person point of view, and that through the diary, Anne recounts her day-to-day life in hiding and how she copes with her fear, the uncertainty of the situation, the struggles, and life experiences in that secret annex. Since this book is told from a point of view of a young girl, the writing is simple and straightforward, which gives us insight into the thought process of Anne Frank, who dreamed of peaceful times and have some common teenage girls' problems as well. So I think that this book is a very touching and eye-opening account of their time spent in the annex with very few facilities, and then they couldn't have any outside contact, and then they have to constantly fear of being discovered by the Nazi German. And all these emotions, feelings, and experiences is very detailedly described in Anne's diary. So although this is an informal journal by a little girl, this diary of the Diary of Anne Frank has also become a major piece of historical importance that presents an unbiased and unhampered picture of the times of the Nazi regime. Okay, and then it also narrates how cruel and inhumane the treatments that the Jews was received by the Nazis, and with all these experiences and from the diary, it helps us to empathize and imagine what it was like for the Jews at that time. So it helps us relate better to Anne's emotion and feelings at that time as well. So Anne's diary provides insight into her relationships with her family and fellow inhabitants of the annex, and we can see her thoughts on various personalities and how she deals with the daily struggle, and then how she coped with her fears and stuff. Okay, there are many important messages in the book, and one of the most important messages is that all people should have the right to live in freedom, because from Anne's diary you can see that people were discriminated because of their race, because they were Jewish. So but then that doesn't mean that people should be treated differently, even though they have different race, different religion, or different gender. So I really like that Anne was a really happy and cheerful person, even though she and her family were in such an awful situation. Anne enjoyed writing and describing others. She was talkative and inquisitive, and sometimes might be a little bit childish, I would say, or selfish, since she's only a little girl. She was a typical teenage girl, and she didn't always understand how difficult life was for her mother and other adults around her. She commented on people who shared their hiding space. Sometimes that wasn't very nice, but then it also shows how everybody's life was challenging, changing, because they had to be quiet, they have to be hiding, and then they couldn't let anyone discover them. I really recommend this book to everyone, because I think that this is a really great book that actually gives you more historical information during the World War II about the Jewish and the Nazis, and also is a very it's a book that has a simple language that everyone can understand the whole book very easily. So that is the end of my sharing. Thank you all for listening.